Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing very well. Today I just wanted to sit down and do a chatty video about my experiences with university. Now, I don't have a degree, so you can probably guess I didn't stick it out. But I just kind of wanted to talk through my experiences a bit, why I went, etc, etc. So I started university in the autumn of 2011. Now, at the start of that year, I was kind of not really doing much. I had a little job at Hobbycraft. I'd worked over the Christmas period there and I had quite a lot of hours, but slowly through the start and middle of 2011 my hours kind of diminished, so I felt like I'm doing a job that's not really paying me enough to come into work, if you know what I mean. So it was a little bit frustrating. I wasn't doing anything else. I think I had a gym membership still, so it was just that and the gym and just being at home for most of the time. So I kind of felt like I needed to do something. But I'd come out of college and everything just kind of went like that straight away. Everything just stopped. I wasn't seeing my friends anymore. I didn't have the social aspect apart from at work, which wasn't enough really. So I thought, no, do you know what? I'm going to go to university. I feel like I need to do something else with performing arts. And I obviously wanted to go to drama school. Didn't get in. So I thought, yeah, university is the next best thing, even though my heart wasn't 100% with it, which was quite an error on my part. So yeah, I toyed with the idea through the year and I ended up applying to university quite late actually, which was a bit of a mistake because I obviously didn't leave many options open to myself. But I did get accepted to the University of Wales in Newport, which I was relieved about, because if I hadn't got accepted I probably would have felt like, oh great, another year's wasted, and it would have been really frustrating. So I'd gone down a few months before for the audition and I really liked the town. Like, not many people have good things to say about Newport, I'll be honest, but I didn't mind it. I liked the town because of the... Fuck off, son! You're ruining it. But I didn't mind the town, personally. Where the university was quite ideal and the town was close and everything was set out quite nicely for me. And I quite liked the accommodation. So I was quite happy to move. I was excited because I'd never lived away from home. So it was all very exciting, and the rest of the year consisted of me preparing to go off and live in Wales. So when I first moved into my flat, it was a flat with all separate rooms, so there were 6 of us, and it was really good at first. I was obviously nervous because I hadn't been in that sort of situation before, but I felt like I got on well with my flatmates, and we even ended up, the first couple of months, we'd go out together as a group on nights out and it would be really fun, and I felt like, oh good, I don't feel like a complete loner down here, which I was worried about. And yeah, I just got on with them, and it was exciting because I thought, if I'm getting on well with my flatmates, then the rest of it should just come naturally and it should be easy. But obviously going to university, I think everybody has an idea of what it's going to be like. I didn't think I'd be going out getting absolutely wrecked and so pissed up that I wouldn't remember the night at all. I'm not that kind of person anyway. But I thought, you know, I'd go out on a few good nights every so often. I'd do well with my studies. I'd make loads of friends. I'd maybe join other sort of extracurricular activities at the university, and I assumed I would make a lot of like-minded friends, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. Now, considering I clicked so well with my flatmates, it was a little bit of a letdown that I couldn't click with anyone on my course. I felt like I was kind of not singled out, not that anyone was mean or funny with me, it was just, I don't know, I just couldn't click with them. I did feel kind of excluded at times because I would be openly ignored in a group situation unless we were performing at the time. So it did feel quite lonely in terms of my course. Like, I would be fine with my flatmates, I'd go off to my lectures or my practical sessions and feel just really uncomfortable. At first it was okay because you felt like everybody was in the same boat, nobody knows anybody else, but then everybody started to make connections and then I was just there like, oh, this isn't happening. Like, I was trying, I'm not a really outgoing person anyway, but it was just, I just found it really, really hard. So yeah, this sense of loneliness just went on, and I was just counting the days to go home basically, which wasn't ideal considering I'd gone there to obviously learn, have a good time, get some life experience. So yeah, it wasn't nice. And I soon started to realise that the course wasn't for me. I tried really hard to get into it, but the theory was too much for me. Like, I've never liked theory when it comes to performing arts. I've always thought that if you're going to learn performing arts, you need to do more practical stuff. You can't just learn it out of a book or off a page, you can't just be told that you need to do it. And for me, there just wasn't enough of a practical element to it. So I was really disappointed with the course, and I paid a lot of money to go down there and live. I was struggling with money like I think every student does, and I just thought, what am I doing here? What have I done? At that point I knew I probably wouldn't have stuck it out, so I did consider other courses, but I just thought, even if I do that, I'm still going to feel really lonely down here because I was so far away from home. It was like a 2.5 hour train journey to get back up to my hometown. So yeah, it wasn't ideal. The loneliness got so bad, and I felt like I never had anyone to talk to, that I just wanted to go back home all the time, and I hated my time down there, and I just thought, enough's enough, I need to go home. I mean, it was just a cherry on top of a really crappy cake when one of my first assignments came back to me, and I honestly thought I tried really hard, I'd done really well, I thought I'd nailed the referencing I needed to do and all the research I needed to carry out, and then I got a really bad grade, like not what I wanted at all, and it was so disheartening. And I just thought, well, if I'm not liking it down here, I don't like the course, and now I can't even do the work properly, what's the point? When I decided enough was enough and I was just going to come back home, I did feel like a big fat failure, I'll be honest. I knew that my mum was probably a little bit disappointed in me. She wouldn't have said it. I think in a way she was glad to have me back home, but in another way she kind of thought, you know, because she'd helped me out a lot with money, and I felt incredibly guilty for that. And I just felt like I never stick at anything. I didn't stick with my studies throughout school. I didn't get all of the GCSEs I was capable of. I always feel like I quit everything, and then by doing that, it just made me feel 10 times worse. I just wish I'd had the sense to stay at home and study if I'd wanted, because there were probably better courses closer to home, and if I hadn't liked them, I wouldn't have had all this cost of moving down to Newport. I also wish I'd considered something more practical. Now, I've always loved performing arts, and I've always loved the idea of doing things that are not achievable in the real world. Like, I've always wanted to be an author or a writer, or at one point I was considering being a singer. I mean, come on. So I've always gone for unachievable things. So I wish I just had the sense back then to think, do you know what? I might not make it in this industry, you know. So I should have thought, maybe I could do something else, something as a backup, and maybe just joined an amateur dramatics group or a musical theatre group just to still get that buzz from performing, but work towards an actual career that pays good money. I'm actually doing an Open University degree now, which is a hell of a lot cheaper, let me tell you, and I can do it at home. I don't have to go anywhere, I don't have travel expenses or anything like that, so it is a lot easier. It's actually a practical thing, it's psychology and counselling, and I really wish I'd considered something like this back then. Going to university is honestly one of the biggest regrets of my adult life. I just seriously regret going. It was such a waste of money for me. It was just a waste of time. It knocked my confidence as well. I'm not going to go into all the issues with it, but yeah, there was a lot of things that were going on at the time, and it just was not for me. And I think in a way I went to prove that I could do something. It was like I wanted to impress people and say, look what I've got a degree in this, I'm going to uni. And I think sometimes people go just to say that, just to say, I've been to university, I've got all this experience, but at the end of it you've got a lot of debt, and I think people don't consider it fully. I don't think a single positive thing came out of going there, other than I found out I didn't like it there. There's literally nothing. If anyone came to me and said, would you recommend going to university? I'd be, I don't know, like, I would probably say that university is brilliant if you 100% know what you want to do, and you've got passion for it, and you know, it's practical. I think that's the main thing. So yeah, in summary, I wish I'd never gone to university, but I don't think people should be put off. I mean, my daughter came to me in the future and says, I want to go and study performing arts at university, I would probably put her off the idea. Not to be mean, even if it was her passion, I would probably try and talk her around to see sense and just explain what I went through and just say, look, you can still get that another way. You don't have to be in debt just to go and study this. You can still do performing arts in another way. But I think it's as I've gotten older, I've just become more practical and more boring. But yeah, that's my experience. It's a little bit of a negative one, and I know some people go to uni and they bloody love it, but it just wasn't for me. Thanks for watching this ramble of a video. If you've got any stories about university, please feel free to share them. If you'd like more of these chatty sort of videos, then please comment down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!